welcome to another episode of Roses Are Red podcast with your host, Mrs. Red Rose, her co-host, Sam I Am from the Married Couple Podcast, and AC from Midnight Media.
Welcome in, everyone. Welcome in. Today we have a special guest with us. We have my daughter, Selena. But before we get into her real quick, I just want to do a quick disclaimer. The views and the opinions expressed in this video are personal. Please do not take what we say, make your own research, come up with your own opinions, and I hope you like the show. There also is a trigger warning for this video. There may be a lot of things that might be a big trigger warning for you. So just to let you know on that part too. But welcome in, everyone. It's been a whole week since I've seen everybody.
Yes.
Hello.
Welcome in. So we have Selena with us today. Hey, Selena.
Hello.
We're happy to have you on here. It's nice to put a face to the comments.
Yeah. Fun to see you guys and chat.
Absolutely.
Yes.
What do you think of I know you've been listening a couple weeks. What do you think of the show so far? And don't
It's great.
don't butter it up. Let us know.
Oh no, I will. But I think it's great. I was telling my mom that there's certain topics I feel like, or things that you guys may talk about that sometimes doesn't pique my interest at that moment. So sometimes I'll dwell away but still listen, and then I'll come right back. But you guys so far have done topics that I've never heard about that seem really interesting. Because I like that type of stuff. Murder, type of like crimes.
What about Gypsy Rose? You into Gypsy Rose?
Nah.
Give a fuck about this bitch.
Look, that nose
Heck
job that
no.
I'm getting for her. She still looks the same.
But you don't care, but you're following her. You knew about the
You're
nose job?
welcome. You're welcome.
You know she's her number one fan on Instagram.
Absolutely.
Go Gypsy.
Yeah. The last I heard was that she went on and said it. She's like, he's fat, and I'm not into it. Even though he said the D was fire. She said the D was fire. I couldn't imagine how it could be fire under all that.
I mean, you never know what somebody's got.
I mean,
I think I know.
She also doesn't have a whole big old frame of reference either. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
Right. What you seen in a magazine. Maybe.
and remember, she also has been locked up for a while. So
that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
You
And she
know.
doesn't really have a big frame of reference. She had been with one person prior to going in. Somehow I think I read that she had conjugal visits with the guy she's with now, even though they weren't married, which I think that was odd.
Could you imagine that conjugal visit?
Ugh, I don't know.
Hi,
I know.
Senator
Ugh.
Thunder.
What's up,
Senator
man?
Thunder said, he said, Rose, nice to see you. AC, how are you, AC? Don't tell Rose I'm here. Shh. Okay.
Between you and me, buddy. Don't you tell anybody.
Won't tell
Well, yeah,
anybody. Go and let me know.
Is there anything you want to touch upon before we get into this disgusting story?
No, I think
You know what? No.
there's not
I don't know
many
about you, Sam.
updates. No, not really anything that I need to go through. So I think we could totally get into this.
Gypsy Rose. Bleh.
Yeah.
I mean, now that we're here, we might as well look at a headline or two.
Okay.
Let's see what's going
She
on.
never keeps a secret.
I'm just a stupid bitch.
Hey, Southern Hubs.
Hey, Southern Hubs. How are you? So, all right, this is a story that it's a little bit touchy for home for me. It really is, because we had gone through something similar to it. So it is a little touchy for me. Not exactly the same. It's a similar scenario, but not the same. So it is a very touchy story. So like I said, this is a big trigger warning for everybody. This is a story about the first parents that were convicted because their son committed a crime. In 2021, if I'm not mistaken.
It's November 30,
So this is really
2021.
It's very recent. Very, very recent in Michigan. And it involved some young children. We're going to keep their names out of the because they're young and they are underage, we are going to keep their names out of this. So, and they were, hey, hubs, see y'all asses. So and then Brendan said, keep doing big things, AC. And
We try. That's our brother
Brendan, what
from NFL HQ.
Yeah.
Hello, Brandon.
nice.
It's kind of
So
my brain just went Detroit. This place. This took place 40 miles north of Detroit, I believe. But it is the NFL draft this weekend, and it is being held in Detroit. And I went, oh,
my
NFL.
gosh, crazy. Yep.
So
I'm
sorry, my brain just
very happy about the Dolphins pick. By the way, very happy.
We didn't watch a whole lot of it. Well, and tonight, anything that's been on has been preempted by tornado coverage.
Exactly.
Anything that's been on here in Omaha has been preempted by tornado coverage.
And if I'm watching the NFL draft or not, they're still gonna take whoever they want.
Right, exactly.
They're not gonna check with me.
So I'll check
keep my phone on.
Yeah, I'll check in on who they draft and stuff later. So, any rate, side note. Sorry about that. Keep going, Rose.
No worries. We touched about the subject back in one of our first podcasts we actually ever did.
We did.
Because this was something my son, he was at his school. We won't mention his school for privacy, but there was a shooter that, they said there was a shooter at his school. We got the phone call, and it was a very scary situation. I wish that on nobody to go through something like that, to get that phone call from your kids, that there's an active shooter anywhere. My daughter, even when I was with her, visiting her in Seattle, because of where they're at, they had an active shooter walking around too, and that is a scary situation. So it is a scary, touchy situation. And to get the phone call from your child to say, hey mom, there's an active shooter here, you need to figure out how to come get me.
Because I don't think the school called you, right? I don't think
they
notified you.
The school did not notify us. We actually got a phone call from our son. And then to find out, because there was not enough evidence on this child, even though it was lingering through, their chats, their friend chats and everything, he just got suspended for 24 hours and got brought back to school.
That's exactly what happened to I'm sorry to cut you off, but that's exactly what happened to my nephew right now. He goes to a school, it's a charter school. It's K through 12. First of all, I'm not a parent, but I don't think juniors in high school should be going to school with like 11-year-olds. That's just my thing.
I agree.
But whatever. It's supposed to, that's when I brought that up, that wasn't the point. Right. So there was a junior who has all this things he's going through. And he said, I'm going to hurt somebody. I'm going to bring some shit to school. Kind of, documented. I don't know much about it, but they kind of same thing. They let him go for 24 hours. And now everybody, like my brother, my, sister-in-law, my mom was all freaked out because he's going to go back to school. And we don't really know what's going on. And I'm like, my point is like, well, if that kid gets to go back to school now that there's a target on him, like they know, right? They said, okay, no worries, not enough. Come back to school. There's going to be eyes on him. They think like, no, they're just going to forget about him and he's going to go. I'm like, dude, if that happens and he kills someone or God forbid a bunch of people, then that's negligible on the school, like on the cops, on the, like everyone. Now it's not just like one person. It's like, now you allow this kid to go back to school. You know what he's going to do or has plans to do. If you allow it to happen, now it's on everybody. Everybody.
My oldest got into a fight her sophomore year I lied, her freshman year of school, and they expelled her, and she got charged with assault, and had to do diversion and things like that. I mean, it's crazy to me that if somebody has been, even if they're like, oh, there's not a whole lot of evidence, you still know the intent, and why are you not expelling this child? You know what I mean?
How much more evidence do you need other than
exactly.
I see everybody blood splattered in my class, I am drawing a gun, shooting like my teacher, like how much more do you need?
Well, I know, that's what I'm saying. I don't understand how they get let back in. I mean, back in the day when we were in school, if you got into a fight, most of the time you weren't expelled. You might have been suspended for a few days and, got a good talking to.
A
But
fight,
yeah.
but like I'm gonna bring a bazooka to school
Right.
tomorrow.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
is
My
so
kid got
different.
expelled for a fight, and this kid gets to come back. You know
Right.
what I mean? That doesn't make any sense to me. So,
Yeah. So.
Oh,
Hey,
Jamie, I miss you
Jamie.
so bad.
thanks for listening, Jamie.
So bad.
So the story that we're talking about tonight is based on the Crumbley trial. It is on Hulu for everybody to please go check it out. It is a Hulu. It's about a 2-hour documentary on Hulu about this trial. Like I said, it happened in 2021. And they got convicted in 2024, from my
They
understanding.
literally just got convicted this month.
Mhm.
I mean,
This month. Okay.
The trial, James's trial ended, I believe, started in March of this year, and both of them were both of them were sentenced. I think the beginning of the month.
Yeah, I believe I read that it was just recent that they went.
Yeah, and that's kind of why it's in the news now. I mean, I was surprised watching the documentary, how recent. I mean,
They
I
always time it
remember.
right.
I
They always
remember.
time it with
Yeah.
getting out of prison for gypsy and like this shit. It's always the same. Yeah.
I remember Dave and I kind of following the news about Jennifer, the mom, her trial, and I'm like, ugh. At this point, I didn't know all the details, and I'm like, shit. Honestly, this is good. I hope this doesn't, and I still hope it doesn't set a precedence for other times things happen like this, because I don't think the parents always are culpable in
Culpability?
it. Yeah.
Uh,
I don't
sometimes
think
they
it's
are.
always, well, sometimes they are. And my mind changed on this case going through it. You know what I mean?
And you as a parent, wouldn't you, if you know that you may be culpable for anything your kid does now going forward, wouldn't that make you look at your kid's life a little bit harder? I don't see it that much of a bad thing.
I know.
You know?
I mean, I can say that my oldest, who's your age, Selena, she put me through a lot. She ran away first time at 12 years old on her sister's 7th birthday. And we were going to Chuck E. Cheese, and we were supposed to go to Chuck E. Cheese for the birthday party that night. She skipped out the different way at school, and I called the cops and whatever. But immediately after this happened the first time, I was like, let's get her into therapy. Let's see what's going on. There's got to be a reason. You know what I mean? We were, and continually, I mean, she ran away quite a bit, but I continually tried to help and figure out what's going on here. Right. So once we get into the case, I don't think they did that. You know what I mean?
No,
actually,
I
know what
don't.
I mean? They weren't there. I don't know. It's just,
they said something very
insane to me.
poignant. They said something like, the opposite of love is not hate. The opposite of love is not giving a fuck.
Yeah,
and
it's
just
not
letting
being there.
people.
Yeah.
And also these people, going back to the Crumleys, these people had something about like some sexting going on.
Mm-hmm.
They had some weird sex fetishes in the which I'm all for. I'm
to
with
each
that.
their own, but if it's taking time away from,
right.
If
you can't help your kid because you're in the bondage chair,
right,
or like you're tied up,
or
in the
you're having an affair on your,
Liberator, right.
That's kind of a big thing too.
Yeah,
I mean,
that too.
Yeah.
So
shit,
or buying $5,000 horses instead of taking care of your
while you're
What?
drunk.
Your family.
I mean,
What?
I get it. I've made drunk purchases before, but
You ever bought a horse? You ever
No.
made an equine purchase?
I think the biggest thing we did was get Paul McCartney tickets at like 4:00 in the morning. I don't know.
Ooh, we're going in 3 months to see Paul McCartney.
No, it was like the next day.
Oh, really?
It was like
Nice.
last
Oh,
minute.
shit.
We're like, fuck it, we gotta go.
Tight.
But
Okay.
Selena, I have a
but
question
never
for
a
you.
horse.
Selena, I have a
Go
question
ahead.
for you. You have young ones. You've got 2 very little ones here coming up.
I think so.
Listening to this story. You think so?
Are you
Listening to
scared?
this
Are you
story,
afraid?
Yeah. Does this change your mind on, because the world is changing so quickly for all of us. It's changing, your generation, our generation, things are changing. Do you now feel, listening to this story and seeing what's around you, about the school system for your kids?
Oh, I'm definitely more guarded. I mean, just yesterday, the high school had a shooting threat. The school didn't inform anybody, and the students inform their own parents. And the only way I found out about it is because it went all over the spouse page and everybody was posting about it, and the police department just said we're doing an investigation and that's all. So reading about that, and then there's also different aspects besides the shooting that make me want to homeschool my kids, or more or less keep them away from the outside world. But I can't also do that. They're going to eventually grow up and experience that for themselves. So it's a hard choice that I don't know what's good and what's not good.
Yep.
Well, I mean, I think if you're
Absolutely.
independently wealthy and one of you don't have to work and you can dedicate your life to schooling your children, but for a lot of people, that's also their daycare that allows them to work. I mean, now we need 2 incomes to live. So if you guys can figure out a way, or someone, not just you, but anybody can figure out a way for someone to stay home and then also want to take on that huge responsibility of wanting to hang out with your kids for an extra 8 hours a day, then that would work out. Not everybody's built that way. Not everybody wants that,
Everybody's different.
Everybody's different. So I'm thinking in the future, it's going to be enclaves of little things, like a lot of homeschool kids. The federal school system is going to be like, so there's going to be so little kids in it, but eventually it's going to be a lot of kids homeschool and like conservative schools. And then like, public schools will just be the liberal school, which is insane to me, but okay.
But I mean,
It's
And then
crazy to me.
outside the conservatives is going to be like, M16s and guys with shotguns and like ready to fucking, nobody's going to kill anybody, but man, you live in a military school, which is crazy.
It's crazy to me, because what it's crazy to me is that our kids now, when we grew up, all we had to worry is, hey, you know what? I'll take you out to the behind of the bleachers on the football field, a couple of punches, and you know what? It was settled. Hey, whoever won, and that's it. Shook hands and you moved on. Right.
No, I know where you're
now
from.
you got to worry about.
There was guns where I was from. There was guns.
well, and I'll tell you, I mean,
There were guns.
really, the thing that, the biggest one that started it all, or that, it was Columbine. And I mean, that was shortly after we graduated. We were out of high school at that point. It happened, I think in 99. So, I mean, I graduated in 98, so what's kind of crazy is we were supposed to move to Denver when I was a kid in high school, and I would have gone to Columbine when I would have known those kids. Thank goodness I didn't have that happen, but it was a little odd. But I mean, that's the first one in memory that had happened. And so it's nothing new. I mean, truly, it's
been happening for almost 30 years now.
Yes, exactly. I mean, how crazy is that?
It's sad.
And we allow it to happen.
Yeah, and it continues to happen.
Yeah.
I mean,
because we can't touch our guns. Nobody can touch our guns. There's no way. So, and then there's no give anywhere. So, and if the other side gives up and says, yeah, you can put, but who's going to pay for that? Who's going to pay for armed people at the school, like armed security? I had security at my school. My mom didn't believe me the other day. I was like, we had security. They're like, we had security at your high school. I'm like, yeah, they didn't have guns, but they were.
We had security at our high school.
They didn't have guns.
No,
okay,
no, you had security. No, you didn't have. There wasn't security. No, you had security for one, because Dad put one on you. And two, you were a little shithead in high school. And let's just be honest. You did put us through a lot, and you were. There's a lot of things that different topic another day, but you did put us through a lot, and Dad, we made sure that she was protected. Like, she would leave that school, we would get a phone call immediately, like, hey, you know what? She's walking down the alley. There's a white car that's going to pick her on the other side. And we were there in a heartbeat. On the other side, we're like, where are you going?
Now, how many people have those resources? Nobody has those resources. Nobody has that. Who can do that?
No, but you know
You're
what?
in the
Nowadays,
top crust of the people who can do that in the world. But
nowadays it's so normal. We look at things like this so normal. There was, we go online and we see it, or we get the news. Oh, there's a shooting in such state. Oh, wow, how sad. I hope everybody's safe. It's kind of like,
it's almost to the point where, like, where's it going to be next?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's sad.
But since nothing can change, because anything that changes in that point will be a fundamental change that either side would lose at, right?
Mm-hmm.
If they do something about gun reform, the right loses. They can't. 2A is like the most important thing in the whole world, and it's free speech, right? And then on the other side, if you put armed military guards at the door, The left loses because it's like, where's a safe? This is supposed to be a safe place to be. Like, we shouldn't be around people with guns. What is this, like Bolivia? So either side has their validity, but how do we? So it happens, right? Like
how do we find a middle
October
ground
7th,
here?
October 1st happened here, right? 58 people died here.
Right.
Immediately, the left goes into gun control. We need to look at this massacre. How can this possibly be another one? We don't do anything. Gun control. The right says, no way. I'm not moving on that. You guys are hysterical. Calm down. You know, like, you guys want to make moves because you're hysterical. There's no reason to do that. And then they let that go until another news cycle, and then you just lose the narrative of that, right? You'll never get to gun control because everybody's like, chill,
Right.
And then nothing ever happens. Not that I want that. I'm just telling you how that works. And then I would love the right, or anyone for that matter, to say, how much would it cost? Give us an outline of how much it would be for every school to get 5 or 6 armed guards. How much is it? Tell us.
Yeah, and I believe there is.
Is it less than we're giving to Ukraine?
Military.
Is it less than we're giving to Ukraine? I bet.
Yeah, I think there is.
Wasn't it Tennessee that's trying to get their teachers to be able to carry guns? But what does that do?
That's not an option for me.
No.
Not every because I want to be a teacher. I have to be a gun guy
right. Are they gonna? Are you gonna train them? Are you? You know what I mean? You can't just
both sides take some
gun. You know what I mean? Regardless of which side you're on, there has to be training. And honestly, do you pay a teacher enough to be armed and to defend?
I feel like there needs to be a middle ground, right?
There absolutely has to be
something that's going to protect the students, the teachers, everyone safely. And I don't think having a gun on a teacher, in my opinion, is the best thing, because
the teacher's in the classroom. By the time the fucking guy comes to the door, like, it's too late. Like, I don't want a gun on my kids, and then,
yeah, it's not going to be
sad. You know what's sad is that now we have to look at backpacks that are bulletproof. We have to look at now. Yeah, now clear. Well, there's clear backpacks, and there's backpacks that now have a padding on it to bulletproof backpacks. We looked into those, when this happened at my son's school, we looked into that. Now we have to look at, not only that, we have to look at now, okay, for one, how are our kids, we had to teach our kids, before we had to teach our kids fire drills. I remember fire drills. And
there are active shooter drills now.
Absolutely.
I
mean, and in the 60s, we had to get under a desk because of nuclear fallout. Because at any moment, a nuclear bomb would fall. Every decade would have an issue.
It's crazy to me.
Yeah. And except in the 60s, we were worried about the entire continent getting blown up. Now we're just like, where's one guy going to kill us?
Right.
Where before we had the delusion of like, oh, get under the desk. Nothing will happen. That'll be the drill. You get under the desk and then wait for the bomb to drop. You're fine.
Right.
Yeah. No,
again,
but now
retarded.
Our kids have so much more to worry about. Like, our kids have to worry about that. Then they have to worry about now, someone coming in to shoot their school. Now they have to worry about, the S word, for teachers taking advantage of them. And now they have to worry.
That's been happening probably since the beginning of time. It's just
that's an entire
now something that's
something you worry about.
More to light.
We worry about getting it. I would love to see some of these hot ass fucking teachers. Where are they? I see some hot fucking bro. I look at them on Instagram. It's like the hottest chick in the world. This like woman was found like fondling a 13-year-old. I'm like, what the fuck? My teachers look like gargoyles. Like, what do you?
But I'm saying this is all the stuff our kids now have to worry about instead of going to school and focusing on studying. It's mind blowing to me.
To be fair, though, I don't, unless it's something has happened in their school. Don't get me wrong. I know I don't think it's really at the forefront of their mind every day. You know what I mean? Until it happens to them. You know what I mean?
After the kids in Fort Lauderdale.
Let's be real. Yeah, right. When you're that age, you don't really think about that. It's not something that you're thinking about, even though it has happened.
But to be fair, it's never going to happen to us. It never happened to us. Like,
you think it's never going to happen to you until it happens.
Right.
I mean, you're closer to high school age than we are. When you were in school, did you feel was that a worry in your head at that point, or was it just?
I never thought anything would happen, and then we had a kid who decided to send a text message saying that, oh, I'm coming to the school and I'm gonna do this and that, and then the next thing I know, we were all on lockdown. We had cops swarming the school. Turns out he was at home sitting on the couch
Oh wow.
because he was upset.
Yeah.
And
Thank goodness for that.
scared me. And then after that, I kind of more looked around my shoulder. Okay, well, that's when I kind of started to people watch. Okay, well, what are you doing? What do you have? You know, and I think that's what scares me now more because of the world that we live in. But also, I mean, we're 2 hours away from a mall, and less than a month ago, there was shooting and a stabbing there. And we were just there, just walking around. So it's definitely scary.
It is. I was thinking back when Alex was young, she was 3 in 2007, right? It was Christmas shopping season. You know what I mean? It was, where did I find that? December 5th of 2007, a kid shot up Von Maur here at our Westroads Mall. I drove by that day, not even, I was like, what is going on there? And then I heard it on the news. I was like, holy shit, we could have been there. You know what I mean? It was crazy that it even happened here in Omaha. You know what I mean? So,
Oh yeah.
so what I'm thinking, maybe we should do a quick shot and then kind of get into the story. I mean, we're talking a lot of around what the story.
It usually happens that way. We start the topic, but it's more. What's more important to us is telling us our stories about the topic.
And by the way,
it touches our heart.
By the way, to my son, today's his birthday, so we're gonna do a shot
birthday.
for him.
No.
So my son today turns. Oh, he's 12. Oh my god!
Were you about to say 100?
I was. Yeah, I was like, I'm turns 100. 100.
Dang, what does that make you?
You know, I'm
She never
ancient.
ages.
You know, I'm ancient. So we'll go ahead and take this shot. If you guys don't mind, we'll take the shot for my son. And
yes, happy birthday.
Georgie.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday, I guess.
As a sister forgot his birthday. All right. So this story is based on the Crumbley. I wanted to call it
We make up names for everybody we talk about. The Crumblies. They sound like they should be cookie makers, I feel like.
Right.
Hello. There you go, birthday kid.
Oh, there he is. Happy birthday.
There's another one.
There we go.
So this story is based on this child that I tried to do my research on finding an upbringing for him. And I looked high and low for the whole week, and I couldn't find anything to bring up, from when he was a baby to a timeline to tell the story, what type of upbringing. The only thing I found recently was that his mother really didn't pay attention to him. His dad really also didn't really, his mom was too busy over there having a, what do I want to say?
An affair?
An affair. They were, I want to say at one point, they said that they were drug addicts at one point. Then they had,
he just didn't get the love and attention from them.
Even though they were his parents, they were pretty absent in they were more self-absorbed.
At least they were together.
I mean, does that always make it better?
I'm just finding something positive here.
So November 30th of 2021, he decides to take a gun into his school, and he shot and killed 4 students there and injured a few others as well. They arrested him on December 1st of 2021 and as an adult. They were right away. He's 15 years old, but they were going to try him as an adult.
Would you think that's wrong?
No,
absolutely.
I don't think that's wrong at all. But right? I mean, sometimes they arrest and then decide. You know what I mean?
What do you think, Rose? Do you think they should have? That's correct. Try him as an adult.
Absolutely, 100%. If you have that mindset that you can have a gun and do what you did, absolutely 100%, I believe you should be tried as an adult.
So why doesn't that work the same way for sex if you're 15 years old? You know what I'm saying? If you like, the age of consent is 18. Like, you don't know what you're doing with 15, but here you do. You know?
You
It's
know what?
different.
I think a lot of the things is depending on the scenario. I honestly think it depends on the scenario, because we had a friend of ours that just because she was upset that he had moved on, she went for that. Even though the mother agreed, they had children together, but he was a year older. She was 17, he was 18. You know what I mean? So I think it depends on that scenario, on that case.
Okay.
You
Fair
know,
enough. Fair enough.
and
Okay.
and that's my opinion. I think that it just really depends on the scenario. And I think this kid, especially with the evidence that they have on hand, absolutely 100%, I think he should have been tried as an adult. But
I
also
think
with
if you intentionally take somebody's life, you should be tried as an adult.
yeah,
Even if you're 7
Yeah.
years old.
If you intentionally do it.
but that's where it becomes that's where the sticky part comes,
You're going to
because
put an
there's a
8-year-old
lot of
behind bars for the rest of his life?
maybe.
that's where the sticky part comes, because that's
I love you.
where
I love you.
I'm on
Put
the
a
defense
1-year-old.
on that. Because here's the thing. At that point, how, where, did they get the means? Do you know what I mean? Like, that's where it's like, did the parents leave the laying it around? I mean, it just becomes a very sticky situation when you're at 6
The
years
bottom
old.
line
and
is,
do
would
that.
you have the stomach to put a 10-year-old behind bars for the rest of his life without parole?
Oh yeah.
I think so, especially if it's an intentional act. I mean,
Okay.
it's not an accident. You know what I mean?
Okay.
What
I
do you think,
believe-
Gacy?
It's a
Would
tough
you?
one. I don't know. I
Would
don't
you-
think I could do. I don't think the society has the stomach to see that. Maybe
At
maybe
10
we
years
do
old?
individually, we do, but like society as a whole, I don't think would not allow for a 10-year-old to go behind bars without, like, as an adult, without the possibility of parole ever, because
Well,
he did something when you were 10. Because when you're 18 is different, right? Everything's
Well,
different
I
when
mean,
you're
this
18.
kid's 5 years older, so
I think if you're
But then-
5, it's a different story. If you're 5 years old, it's a different story.
no, meaning
versus if you're
this
10,
kid, the kid that did this shooting was 15 when he did it.
Yeah, I know.
So the difference between 10 and 15, I mean,
It's not that much. I mean, puberty, right? A little bit of puberty happened, but like, again, you're not supposed to be fully developed until you're what? 18 at least to buy cigarettes, to buy fucking
you can't even buy
smokes
cigarettes now.
and go to war. Gotta go to I can go
You
to
can
war
go
at
to
18.
war and vote, but
Fuck.
you have to be
Yeah, you're-
21 to do everything else.
you gotta-
I think
Okay.
if you did it, you committed the crime. You yourself harmed people that were in your way, or you were going after somebody, then you should be responsible for
At
that.
any age.
And at any age, whatever.
Wow.
If you
but do you believe, as a mom of 2 young ones, Selena, as a mom of 2 young ones, your babies are fairly young.
well, yeah,
If
if
that were to happen,
Michael or Lily were to do something horribly that harmed somebody, I myself, and they told me without, the cops, they were there, I would take them to the jail and let them deal with it. I would be there as their mom,
Wow.
but I do not condone harming another person. That
I agree.
that to me is no. I don't rule for that.
I agree.
okay, so
Wow.
here's the other question. At that age, what if they say, because they're so young and they don't know, it's your fault? Do you believe the parents should be convicted for your child's crime?
That was the next
I would
question.
have them do. Come and investigate my household. Go through the steps. Well, let's do an investigation. What is the household? What are the parents doing? Are the parents involved with the kid?
Where are the guns at?
Where are the guns? Do you have weapons in your house? Can they get to them? Those are all big factors that you have to factor in. And I feel like with this child who committed this,
No, don't call him a child anymore. We're gonna convict him as an adult. There's no child.
He's a
No.
man.
He's a man. You're making him a man
Okay.
now. This
Okay,
man,
so-
this 7-year-old man is gonna take that whole life sentence. That's
I
interesting.
think the parents play a lot into it as well. They weren't a part of his life. He didn't have a childhood, at least, from reading and seeing a lot of things that I did look up. He didn't really have much of a life, father and mother figure.
Well, he was also kind of an awkward kid with one friend that moved away. So I mean, I'm not saying that, but that's kind of paints the picture. He was,
Definitely.
he had a friend, he had somebody he could count on, and then
Yeah.
and then he moves away, and now I'm at the school, and my parents aren't really there. Who do I go to now, right?
And also, I don't know, did it say that he was getting bullied in school as well?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I don't think
mean,
so. I think
because he's underage, I highly recommend you guys go ahead and look at this upline. It's called the Crumbley trial. Look him up online. I don't want to post his picture because he is underage. I don't want to.
He's a man. He got tried like a man.
He got tried.
He's all over.
His whole mugshot is on. That's too late now.
One thing.
There's no saving him now.
Here's why I don't want to, and why I'm trying not to say his name, is because we don't want to glorify it. Because when people do something like this, they want the fame, the infamy of it. Correct.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that's one of the reasons.
Yeah, you take that away, it's like nullifying. It's nullifying
exactly
the reason they did it. But
we're really talking about
in terms of like being a man, like he's like, there's no like.
So here's the question for
public record.
So here's the question for everybody. Now, do you think that the parents should have been convicted for what happened to him? For the parents to be convicted for what the child did, do you think the parents should have been convicted?
I need more facts.
Do you think?
Well, okay. First glance, I was like, "What the fuck?" If I was held responsible for anything that my kids, did, that's a slippery slope, because you can, and on one hand, you can do everything you can in your power to help your child, and they can still go against you. On the other hand, you could not, and maybe you could be culpable for their actions. Let's kind of get into it. I mean, I guess maybe anyone listening, before us kind of delving into the details and why they were arrested and charged initially, what do you guys think? Should the sins of the child be put onto the parents?
I think I need more information. I need to know what was the dynamic in the household? What was happening? Because behind closed doors, we don't know what happened with him and the parents. We don't know how they were. And I don't think it's fair to, hypothetically, if this was a situation that I was in, with my kids, and there's a healthy home, meals on the table, everything was good, but then this happened, I don't feel like I should be charged for it.
Right.
My child should go through that. They committed it. They need to go through their discipline.
You're not the kind of mother. You're not the kind of mother to be like, no, take me, don't take them, take me.
Oh no,
like, fuck that. You take them.
Okay, so this is what the mom and dad look like. Let me go scroll. There we go. Here's a picture of what they look like.
Way different now. Jail was not good to them.
Oh no, this is what they look like now.
Ooh.
Not even.
and this is like
their mugshot. Yeah.
Yeah, this is their mugshot. I think this was I want to say maybe back in February, maybe. I could be wrong.
They were okay. No, if that was their mugshot, they were arrested shortly after he was. So kind of something that hit me a little funny. So the prosecutor, and I think she did a really great job of prosecuting and thinking things through. She wasn't quite aware, and she wasn't doing this for valor, but as evidence unfolded, as they're investigating this whole thing, she went, I think there's a case to charge James and Jennifer because of the things that came to light after the shooting happened. So they were charged December 3rd of 2021 with involuntary manslaughter. However, they fled. They decided
That's what I don't understand. I'm glad you said that because I couldn't understand that part.
They left. They were like, shit, we might be. They
even
they didn't want to be in trouble.
That's so telling. So if if it was me in the situation, and I know that I've been the parent that I've been, and they went, I think we're going to charge you, I'd be like, fine, I'm here. Let's let the evidence show that I've been a good parent. Investigate me, please. You know what I mean?
Right.
They were like, deuces, we're going to go fucking hide out in a warehouse in
In
Detroit.
a warehouse. Like that's
You
like,
know, with
Of
like a
all
little bit over
places.
$6,000, with like a little bit over $6,000.
They fled. They were like, I'm out. Their kids in jail, and they're like, sorry, I
Deuces.
can't do this. I would rather, look out for me as opposed to be there for you,
do you think
right?
they were having freaky sex in there?
They probably were.
Probably were, yeah, I'm pretty sure.
This might be the last
Yeah.
time we get to do this freaky sex. I know you've been cheating on me.
Put it on my ass. Mhm.
I mean,
Seriously, I found that more telling than well, no, not more telling. I found that very telling, though. If you're gonna flee rather than be, face it, and again, if you have nothing to hide, or if you don't feel responsible, then let them do it, because the evidence will show. Correct?
Oh yeah.
right. And well,
I
if you have
agree.
nothing to hide, why hide?
That's what I'm
Why?
saying. The evidence, I would be like, sure, let's dig into it.
And that's why I had said, like, if anything, if this situation was me and I was in it, and I was a great mom, and my husband was great to the kids, I wouldn't just flee, because I knew that I had a great home, everything. But if I flee because I knew that it wasn't a stable home, then obviously there's something there that they need to look into and investigate.
'Cause
Absolutely.
you're on the up and up. Yeah.
Mhm.
I didn't understand that. That's the part I didn't understand as a parent. You fled with a little bit over $6,000 you were caught with in a warehouse. Why would you flee? What is the what is the
They
purpose
knew- they
now, or
knew they
what are you
weren't-
hiding now?
They
Now
knew
my
they
mind goes.
weren't they weren't the best parents, and things are going to look like they're going to be put in a bad light. You know what I mean?
So Sam, do you know a little bit of the beginning of the story that you
Mhm.
could briefly tell us, walk us through the beginning of this whole scenario, so everybody knows where we're at here?
Right. So let's kind of go back. So things started kind of going on, right around Thanksgiving. So this time of year, Thanksgiving happens. Kids are off of school.
What year was that?
So the shooter, their son, had been wanting to get a handgun, which he's 15. I mean, I understand if you have one in the house and you take him to a range, whatever, teach him safety. That's one thing. But he had been saving up for one. So day after Thanksgiving, he and his dad go and they buy, James buys a 9mm Sig Sauer from the Acme Shooting Goods in Oxford, which, of course, it's named Acme. I don't know. That just fucking hit me. But so
Acme, like the Roadrunner. And the,
yes, that's exactly it. Why is it that? So that day, the shooter then posts a photo on Instagram of himself holding the semi-automatic handgun, writing, "Just got my new beauty today, Sig Sauer 9mm. Any questions I will answer." And he included emoji with a smiling face with heart eyes. So whatever. And his dad was able to pass the background check and do everything. The place that sold it to them had no idea what the intention was. But it came out later that it was the shooter's money that paid for it. His dad just went in because he was old enough to buy it, and the shooter couldn't. Obviously, there are rules against that. The next day, Jennifer and her son would take turns shooting the gun at a gun range. This is all on video. I mean, most businesses have, video through there to make sure everything's going the correct way. She writes on social media that their mom and son day testing out his new Christmas present. That's odd. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
in the right,
So
done the
weird.
right way, taught how to handle with it secured. Sure, if you're only going to a gun range and target practicing, that's okay. Then November 29th, a teacher sees Ethan. Sorry, my fault. The shooter, it's written right in front of me. I just say what's there. Searching
gonna be hard.
online. I know it is. Searching for ammunition with his cell phone during class, and reports that he tells school's staff that he and his mother recently went shooting to a shooting range. That shooting sports are a family hobby. School personnel called his mother to notify her, but he said he's not in trouble. While exchanging text messages, she says, "LOL, I'm not mad at you. You have to learn how not to get caught." Now, I actually have pulled up the whole exchange from that day. We can kind of go through it if you want. It's up to you.
I want.
Okay.
Yes.
Why not?
So Jennifer's at 11:53 a.m. on the 29th says, "Seriously, looking up bullets in school?" Shooter goes, "What?" And then says, "Oh yeah, I already went to the office for that. It was in first hour. All I did was look up a certain caliber at the end of class because I was curious. It was on my phone, completely harmless. Teachers have no privacy. They say I'm all good. I understand why they talked to me, and they said that okay, these are his, and they're not and I'm reading them correctly here, that I am good. This is nothing I should get in trouble about." Jennifer then says, "You're not. They left me a voicemail, including emojis of a woman covering her face, like, oh shit. Did you at least show them a pic of your new gun?" she asks. "No, I didn't show him a pic of my pic. My God," he says. "I only told them that I went to the range with you on Saturday. It was a harmless act. I have this bullet cartridge in my room that I didn't know what kind of bullet it was. It said it was a 22 at the end of first hour. I just looked it up on different types of 22 bullets. I guess the teachers can't get their eyes off my screen, SMH." She says, "I'm not mad. You have to learn how not to get caught." He said, "I know, LOL, laughing emojis. I just didn't want something this little to get me in trouble because I didn't get in trouble, LOL." He also says, "I want to hear the voicemail when I get home, though. Also, never tried to look up the bullet. I just didn't think the teacher would be staring at my phone." And she goes, "Okay, I saved it." I mean,
She wants it. I mean, there's nothing inherently wrong that she sees that. She's, she's somebody
like
who's okay with hiding
enabler.
things. Like she doesn't
yeah,
see
just don't get
authority.
caught.
She doesn't see
Sounds like she's
authority
an
as like a
enabler.
thing,
Oh,
Enabler.
yes, very much so. I've not been around, so I'm going to be the cool mom and let you get away with this. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's just the way
I
she
mean,
is too.
There's
She's
a
against
difference
authority.
between being a cool mom and then also being I don't care, but I'm going to control you and tell you what you should do. And I found those weird text messages. Those are weird.
Very weird.
Kind of like talking to your friend instead of your mom, right? Like
one
Yeah.
of the one of the things I found interesting too is that they were like, "Oh, he's always been such a great kid." However, in the documentary, they had mentioned something about how there was a video of him with a baby bird, and
Yes.
he had tried to drown it, and then he took a
Fuck.
screwdriver.
That's it. That's all you have to tell me. Like, no.
And it hurt its leg, and was trying to hurt its leg, and then he was like, "Oh, what's wrong, buddy? I'll help you." Blah blah blah. So he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna be your, whatever." But he's torturing this bird. This is after he had cut the head off of a bird, put it in a jar, and taken it to school. So you can't say there wasn't any signs prior to this time.
Isn't there
signs were
signs
there.
always show when
That's 1000%.
somebody is
Yeah.
going to commit a crime like that? I mean, Jeffrey Dahmer.
I mean, yes, absolutely.
all the signs are there.
I mean, the signs were there. The signs. I mean, he even drew it on a piece of paper that.
I'm trying to find a picture of that, actually.
Okay, I've got a picture here.
Okay.
Where he.
So, yeah, go ahead.
Hold on.
Did you find it?
I did. I just want to make sure I get the picture
Yeah.
of it and not the picture of him.
I know.
Okay, so
I get you.
Here's some of the, there's this that he drew.
Well, he says, okay, so this actually happens the day of the shooting. They found this test and it says, the thoughts won't stop. Help me. And he drew a picture of his own gun, and then he says blood everywhere. So happens November 30, right?
Yep.
His parents get called to the school. It's in the morning. It was in the morning. They said the counselor at this point thought maybe he was going to self-harm as opposed to harm other people.
Right.
And when his parents came in and they acted, if you watch the video of them walking into the school and everything, they acted as if it was the biggest inconvenience, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the counselor goes, I think he can harm himself. I would suggest maybe taking him home with you right now, and gave them numbers for to get help for him, psychiatrists and things like that. And mom says, "Do I have to? Do I have to?"
My God.
And
There's another one right here.
Yeah, they said, "No, you can leave him here." And she goes, "Okay, well, I'm going back to work."
But don't you care at all about anything?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
I guess you can. Yeah, you can. But do you
As
care at
a parent,
all?
I would be like, "Let's go. Let's figure this out. You might be out of school for a month. Let's get you. Let's help you." Right?
Southern Hub says that textbook.
Psychopath. It's true.
And here's another one. Here's another of his drawing that he did.
Yeah.
Which I feel like as a parent, if you hear that from a school, my thought is, okay, let's go find help. Let's go see what we can do.
I would have, we have a hospital here in Omaha that specializes in that and is very good. I would have taken him straight there. You know what I mean? Yes. So and that's where I would go. I mean,
here's the other thing. As a teacher, and like I said, this is not something new. We had the Columbine High School that happened prior to this.
Countless. I mean, that was 25 years ago.
But I mean,
17 of them that happened last year. You don't have to
go how many have happened since?
No, but I'm saying it happened since. This is a pattern, right? How come a teacher didn't call an authority, somebody, and
because
said,
not your
hey,
kid. Your kid's not that kid.
But it's a teacher. You're obligated as a teacher, aren't you obligated to say, hey, you know what?
The reason he said on the stand that he didn't call the cops and he called the parents is he truly believed he was only going to harm himself, which I don't understand how that came about. I think he's trying to, and then he says hindsight, blah, blah, blah. So, you know what I mean? It is what it is. But and going into it, they didn't charge the school for anything that they had noticed, stating federal safety guidelines or whatever, meaning that they were protected for being a federal entity, you know what I mean? Or a governmental entity. Like, I don't know. It's dumb. They've tried. They are culpable too, I believe. Yeah.
Everybody has a little bit. Like I said, everybody has a little bit down the line. Like,
right.
Once we know what this kid is capable of in this day and age, if you let that kid go and you don't have the proper eyes on him and he does something, now we're all culpable. Me, you, everybody who's had eyes on him. Everybody.
Here's the thing.
We allowed it.
I mean, I don't know, Selena. You're closer into high school than we all were. I remember when I was in high school, we would grade sometimes the teacher say, hey, you know what, here are the answers, go ahead and grade the paperwork for them, right? And if I came across the paperwork like that, I'd probably tell my mom and be like, hey, I came across this paper, this kid had this thing, you know what I mean? As a parent, would you brush it off?
No.
If your child came to you and said, hey, you know what, I saw this disturbing stuff on a piece of paper, or would you even tell your parents? Second thing is, would you even brush it off?
I would hope that my child felt comfortable enough to tell me that, and if they did, I wouldn't send them to school.
Well,
Yeah.
What would you do though? Would you call the authorities or would you call the school or I mean,
I'd
what
do
would you
both.
do?
I mean, but because you're talking about not just only your child, right? Your child obviously is your number one priority, but you're also talking about a whole school of other people's children who can potentially get hurt. And I feel like the signs were all there, and for someone finding that paper and then just being like, oh well, I gave it to the parents and all this stuff. Well, I would also call the cops, let them know, or at least keep the school on high alert, because you don't know, like AC said, now you let him go, now you gotta find out what he's doing. Is he gonna come back? Is other people gonna get harmed? You have to have all eyes on him.
I mean, I know as a parent, I was in and I still am. And Selena's here to testify on that.
helicopter parent.
I
You
am.
made it seem like we all died.
I'm you know what, maybe I shelter my kids too much a little bit. Just a tad bit. I do keep them in a bubble as much as I can. But I was looking through Selena's phones. I was destroying her room. I'd be like, I would destroy her room where I would take her mattress out of her room, put it out, and then I'd be like, okay, now you can put your and I would do this I wouldn't even warn her. I would be like, it could be 1 o'clock in the morning.
Sleeping.
Yeah. While I would walk up on a weekend. It could be a weekend at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. I would walk in there and be like, you know what? Get up. I'm going to check your room. I'm going to go through everything. I would dump out her backpack, go through every single thing in her backpack. I mean, there was things that she would be, oh man. And Selena,
but I feel like as a kid, you're like, great, your mom's doing this. Why are you doing it? What's the damn point? And then as an adult who has her own kids, you see it, you understand it, and the world is a scary place, and you have to do what you can to protect your kids. I would take a bullet any day for my kids, and it's scary.
Yeah, but you're taking a gamble there for them to hate you later on and be like, and run away at 12 because you check my shit all the time. You're fucking right.
Right. I mean, my kid did.
I'm not wrong. I'm not wrong.
And every time she ran away,
like if you're
she was in
then,
trouble, and I had to get into her shit to find her. You know what I mean?
Well,
I hacked her phone and all that, but I didn't do it until I mean, I was kind of in the middle. You know what I mean? When things happened, I was like, let me see what's going on. Let me figure it out. But up until then, I tried to give them a little bit more freedom, because if you don't have a lot of freedom, sometimes you freak out, especially when you get it. When you become an adult and your parents are like, now you're an adult, and you've not given them the freedom, sometimes they go off the rails.
Right.
You know how I know that? Me.
When I went to college, my mom didn't let me ride a bike till I was 10. When I went to college, I'm serious. When I went to college, I was a helicopter as fuck. When I went to college, I went absolutely insane.
I did too.
I had everything inside of me and outside of me put in things. Like it was
Yes,
everything at the same time.
Yeah, it was.
So it's worse. It's really worse to do that, because later on, you're like, I want to experience it all, whatever my mom didn't let me do. And then you put everything up your nose and down your throat and up your ass, because nothing was, it's true.
I mean, it is
so
absolutely
hard.
true. Again, I'm not the perfect parent, and I did make mistakes with my oldest. I think I learned from those, and my youngest, and now they're both doing well. It's just the point of, that time frame. I think I was a little too, free with my I think I let her know way too much about my time when I went off the rails, as opposed to just holding that to me until she was old enough to get it. You know what I mean? Because she'd be like, "Oh, you did it." I'm like, "Yeah, I told you so," as a cautionary tale, not as a go ahead. You know what I mean?
Not a good thing.
I was giving you a cautionary tale.
And I was overly protective because of the shit I'd gone through.
Well, and I get that.
Growing up, and I was like, oh my God, you know what I mean? And especially where we're at, we're so close to, within like seconds, you're in another country. I mean, God knows what's going to happen.
Right.
And I was super overly protective with Selena, super and she can testify how
she rebelled. Did she rebel?
Did you hate that, Selena? Did you hate that?
Tried.
You fucking hate that?
She tried, and she definitely got into a world heat of trouble. But she tried. But she was also in like I said, we can in another story. She was involved in a lot of stuff that happened to her when she was 15. But she knows I was like, I mean, I was on her as a hawk. Like I was
I'm
that
so sorry,
mom.
Selena. I'm so sorry, man.
Man, I don't know how many
I,
days.
I'm with you. Mine was the same way, and it was
I
hard,
flew
man.
her to
And it was,
Bali.
and
My parents-
as a boy, it was so fucking embarrassing, man. It was so fucking embarrassing for my mom to fucking dote over me and like just like let me alone. Like, yes, I'm gonna go out with these. Yes, my friends, the same friends I've always go out. She would follow me in the car. It was disgusting, man. It was.
My
I
parents
would
kept
fly her to
shutting me-
Bali. I
To
flew
the
her to
point where I
Bali.
didn't want to talk to her anymore. So be careful. Any boys that you may have and you're helicoptering, be careful because I don't know if I want to talk to you. That's why, like, me and my mom are cool, are
Well,
great. But
I
like,
feel like
I stayed away from her for a long time. I'm like, I don't need this shit in my life.
I
So
feel
be
like there's a
careful.
difference
Be careful.
nowadays because you got some moms with, you have a boy and you're like, okay, I'm gonna be a little bit of a helicopter mom. Then you have my husband's mom, who is, you cannot be with my son. He is mine forever. She was all about, no, he's mine. You can't talk to him. You can't touch him. Nothing. Like it was more of a hover parent. I
It's
mean,
disgusting.
yeah, it was gross, and he stopped talking to her for years, and we still
Absolutely.
have. We don't
But-
talk to her.
Well, with Selena, I flew her to Bali. I took her to Bali for her to.
Oh, what a horrible punishment.
Because
You're
in
like,
Bali,
it
oh,
was
please
great.
don't make me go.
Oh no.
If I get in trouble again, will you take me?
Right. Can I
but
go?
even then,
What kind of trouble can I get into?
even then, in Bali,
Even
people we tried to take her away from, even then, she figured out a way to get her hands on a fucking phone and do the shit. She figured out a way, and I was like,
Of course she did.
oh,
When,
you know
where
what I
there's
mean?
a will, there's a way. Yeah.
Do I
Yeah.
say I regret it? I regret it. Yes, as an adult now.
It's all right. You got kids now, karma.
But
How many times
damn.
I've-
So you helicoptered her and now get kids and karma. Fuck. Damn. You're cold as fuck.
I literally apologized to my parents on the daily for what I put them through.
I was a
went
saint.
crazy.
I was a fucking saint, and on top of everything, they fucking and my brother did everything he wanted to do, and I was the one that got fucking everything, every fucking horrible thing that
at
could happen to me. And my parents.
At 18, I went off the fucking rails and I put my parents through some shit. But I was 18. I waited until I was an adult to fucking go off the rails and whatever. I still apologize. I was an asshole, and my daughter has put me through it. And when it started happening, I'm like, I'm so sorry.
I did
never mean to do that to you. Oh my god.
For me, it was different. I put my parents through hell. I really did. I put them through hell, and this is why I was so protective of Selena. So I put my parents through hell, and I apologized to them maybe once or twice.
Yeah.
But I'm super affectionate with Selena. Like, hey, I love you, like all the time. When my parents were
we
completely
don't say
different. They're
sorry.
not-
It's more that we
No.
and
Yeah, it's very different. It's super different. It's like, and me and Selena were super close. We're very close. So there's things that we talk about stuff.
You got lucky. You got lucky.
Yeah.
That's
I got very
awesome.
blessed. And
You got really lucky after all the shit you pulled.
I should be paying so much
I'm not kidding.
karma.
It's fucking fucked up.
I think I'm gonna pay it with my 5-year-old. I think my
she's-
5-year-old is going to
She'll
put
be your
me through
Waterloo.
hell. So going back to the story.
Yes.
Oh, there's a story?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I know. So they find this, they say, nope, he's gonna stay. 9 minutes later, he's shooting up the school. What happens though when he shoots up the school? His dad hears that there's a shooter and calls the cops and goes, I think my son took my gun. I don't know if it's him. I don't know what's going on. I'm freaking out.
Yep.
So he called 911 at 1:37 in the afternoon when everything's going on. He's at his house in Oxford, and he has heard about the active school shooting. references the meeting that he had at the school earlier in the morning, and because of the disturbing drawing his son had made. I mean, he literally he hears of an active shooter, and the very first thing he thinks of is, it's him. It's my kid.
How can you not? I mean, this is why did you think it was your kid?
I mean, that's
come on.
exactly how does that not make you culpable? I mean, if you knew this could happen,
it's him. I know it's him. He's the craziest one.
They live by the school. He saw the cops go. He calls right away.
I'd be calling my son. I wouldn't be calling this. I would be calling my son.
I did watch.
Hey, are you okay?
I did watch their interview. When they brought them into the police station the day that their son was arrested, and I mean, it was literally minutes after everything happened. They were pulled in there, and he backtracked what he said on the 911 call and was like, oh, I was texting him and he wasn't texting me back, blah, blah, blah. So then I thought, and then I went to look for my gun and it's missing. And then I called. No, that's not how it worked. That's not how it worked. But he was saying that. But immediately after getting into the room with the officers, Jennifer says, I think we need a lawyer.
Well, yeah.
Why?
Do you think she goes, I think we need a lawyer? And they're like, you didn't. I mean, the cops at this point were like, we are so sorry it was your kid. We're just trying to, figure out, was there anything that you noticed? You know what I mean? They were really treating them, as regular, parents yes. And she's like, I think we need a lawyer. And then James was like, no, it's fine. And then he's like, oh, then he stops everything. He's like, I need some water. You know what I mean? But, and then they're talking in circles and they're like, he's such a good kid. We would never have known. Yet you called the fucking cops right away before the shootings were even done, for Pete's sakes.
Right. Like you knew exactly what was happening in real time because you had this, who your kid is. He's different. At that point, you know all these things, and you gave him the fucking gun. Yeah, this is the one where I say, yeah, the parents were culpable to a certain extent.
Absolutely.
If they didn't know anything, and then one day a kid snaps, that doesn't even happen. The kid doesn't. Right. There's always signs. As soon as the bird thing happened, you're going to a special school.
Yes, we're gonna put you. I mean, even if I have to take you out of school for Pete's sakes, you are not gonna hurt anyone because you don't just do that.
Did we learn nothing from Jeffrey Dahmer? From
exactly.
Like John Wayne Gacy. All these people hurt animals.
Though? Was that the first incident that happened though?
The bird?
The bird, or was there anything prior to that?
I'm pretty sure it was the bird. I mean, I don't know. It's just
this is the part where I don't understand. There's nothing. There's only
one thing.
It only starts at a certain part.
He had in everything. He had sent a text to his mom, and he was also. He actually was texting his friend, and he said, I'm gonna tell my mom I feel like I need some help. And it was an actual cry for help. I'm going to tell my mom. Told my mom, she laughed at me, is what he told his friend. Now, in one hand, okay.
I don't know. To a certain extent, I'll be like, I can see both sides here because it's like, I need help. If you see it too, we'll be like, bitch, man up, nut the fuck up.
Well, however, if you're truly coming to me and saying, I'm in a bad place mentally, I do need help. You're gonna help your kid get help, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna ask probably, but
you're not gonna laugh at them.
I can see some people. Definitely see some people, especially the kind of people that will put a gun in their hand and think that that's like, a gun culture. It's like also comes along with bravado culture. It's like, man the fuck up, get it together, okay? Nothing's wrong with you, little pussy. Get it together, shoot at that thing, grow a pair, and let's go fucking hunting, okay? And that's how you get rid of your mental wokies. Those people exist too.
Yeah, those people exist. I mean, I know from personal experience, from something that I gone through. I opened my voice and basically they're like, that can't be possible. Yeah, right. Whatever. You're making shit up. Sit your ass back down. That ain't true. Get your ass back.
You know what makes you less scared? You know what makes you less scared, boy? Eat some pussy. Get yourself a girlfriend, eat some pussy, be fine.
Right.
Okay? Shut the fuck up.
but I also don't ever want to be an enabler to any of my kids. You know what I mean? I don't want to be that one to be, oh, there's no, that's one thing I can honestly say. I will never say that my kids are perfect because they're not.
That's not what
No.
you said last night.
Well, you were making me some cupcakes, so we're good.
All right.
But we all, none of us. There's not one perfect person in this world, and there's mothers that believe that their kids could never do no wrong, and I
That's
know
right.
that for a fact. There's kids that you go, my kid could never do that. I've heard it throughout.
That's
With
exactly what these people thought.
we
Oh,
went
I
through.
never.
Well,
know,
I met
with-
somebody like that I think 3 months ago, because they were playing with my daughter, and then their daughter pushed my kid, which ended up having a bloody nose. And then they're like, my kid didn't do anything wrong,
Of course.
nothing.
Yeah,
I'm like,
that's normal.
your
That's normal.
kid, decided to hurt my kid. At least you could apologize.
But at that point, do you think maybe your child did something to provoke?
No, my child can't do no wrong.
I don't believe my kids are perfect. I mean, shit, my kids are demons who.
You don't even know if they're perfect yet because they're not just not old enough. I think
But
no
they are.
one in the world is perfect. No one in the world is perfect.
Demons. Her kids are demons. No, I love them all. They're great kids, but they're still little, so they're learning and
They
they're
don't even know
getting
yet. Now's the important time where you show them what's right.
I've raised my brothers, and at times where my logic is coming from is being younger and taking care of my own siblings like they were my own kids. So I don't think that every child is perfect, and I think somebody who has that mentality is just crazy because your child isn't perfect.
Even my son now, there's a big gap. There's 11-year difference between Selena and her brother, right? There's a big gap. And my son always says, Mom, you weren't like that with Selena. I'm like, you know what? Let me get her on the phone. And I'll be like, Selena, can you explain that to your brother? How was I with you? And Selena would explain, Mom didn't believe half of the shit that I said, but I don't believe I just don't believe there's not one perfect person in this world. We all make mistakes.
That's fine. But are you willing to put your kid? Are you willing to take your kid and go, here, you did something wrong, here, cops? You're willing to turn your kid in?
Selena knows from what we went through with her. I was the first one to say, here you go, Selena. Now you're going to sit here and you're going to explain all the shit that you did, that
Boom.
and what's going on to them, so we can get to the bottom of this whole.
And that makes you completely different than that person because you're willing to say that you can say that they're not perfect, but are you willing to say that they're wrong in this instance and you're going to get 5 years in jail? Here, go.
Yeah,
sorry,
I would do it. I would do that if it would save somebody else's life, because I would not be able to.
No, not save life. Just like he did something wrong.
He did
something wrong, and he did, and you're going to turn him in.
Versus later.
Some parents won't do that. Some parents are like, no way, I'm going to fight. Even if you did it, I'm going to do everything I can to keep you the fuck out of jail.
Absolutely.
I'm going to get every lawyer in the world.
That's going through that now.
I mean, I don't know if you guys read up on that story with the Gabby Ryan story, or Gabby, I believe her first name is Gabby, but it's the one where her boyfriend killed her. And they were out, they were they were campers, they would move around a lot. And then he just decided to kill her and then went back home. And the family, the mom and dad, helped cover it up. They covered it up. They gave him details of what to do. They lied to the cops. And then everything started slowly popping up. And then he ended his own life. And
see what I'm saying?
Do you think these parents, the Crumbley parents, right? The mom and dad. God. Do you think if they were able to get away with because they went into hiding, right? They went into hiding. They went into I don't want to say shed. It was it was an abandoned building, I think it was.
It was like a warehouse,
a warehouse. Do you think that if they were able to get away with it, which I really, for the life of me, I can't understand why they ran. I really don't.
Because they knew they were.
They knew.
Because
they knew that dad did too much to make this happen.
It's
Or
just
not
not.
enough,
It's not
right?
registering in my head. Do you know what I mean? It's just not.
Well,
They
as
knew
a,
that they were guilty. They don't give a fuck about their kid, and they were like, "Let's." They already have the kid. You and me, let's ride before they fucking. If they get us guilty, we're somewhere else. What do you mean?
They didn't care about their
Bonnie,
child. They could
Bonnie and
care.
Clyde shit. Yeah, Bonnie and Clyde shit.
James,
I
I
gotta
don't know what I would do. My kids are my life. Yeah.
I can say though,
All your kids are my life too, guys. By the way, all of your children are my life. All of you, Jamie,
On that note,
Nina,
I
everyone.
just did one. Let me
my
My kids
fucking
are-
pour another one.
Jamie, your kids are my life too.
It doesn't
Everyone.
count unless you do it on
All
camera.
right, there you go, Selena. There's Uncle AC. You got something to do in Vegas? Go States.
Okay,
Absolutely.
we'll
Here's
drink
everybody.
this, AC and Sam. We'll all go.
I know.
Well,
No, but I agree. I mean, my kids are my life too. I'm not saying that they're not.
but will you turn them in? Will you turn them in
Absolutely.
if the time was right and they did something heinously wrong, or not even heinously wrong? Did they do something wrong in your eyes?
Yeah.
Or would you try to cover it up?
No.
Either way sounds plausible. Like, I'm your mom. I'm going to help you out. I'm your dad. I'm going to help you out. Get the best lawyer, keep you out of jail. I don't care if you did it or not. I love you. Oh, please come, Jamie.
Jamie, for my birthday, we should go to Vegas.
Yes.
Girls trip.
Yes.
Well, here's the thing.
AC, like, great guys.
I want to go.
I rewatched the last episode very slowly. Just letting you know. It was fantastic.
I feel like
I put it on half.
as a parent and that happened, my part would be, okay, let's turn you in. Let's get this going. You
Right.
committed it. But then also part of me is going to be like,
is like, I
what
want to
can-
save my child.
Yeah, what do I do as a parent? Okay, let's get a lawyer, because that's what we need to get, and let's go through it. But I'm not going to sit there and cover it.
I'm always going to love my child regardless of what they do. However, I am not going to let them get away with murder.
Yeah. No.
I'm not.
If you could help it, if you could help them get away with murder,
No.
you wouldn't. You'd rather, for a fact. Let's play this game. For a fact they could get away with it with your intervention.
No, I'm not going.
You would not do it.
No.
Really?
Okay, so here's the biggest question.
Holy
Here's
shit!
the
I
thing.
have.
Here's the thing.
Wow.
No, I'm not. Here's the thing. If
Whoa.
let's just say, okay, scenario, my child is being abused by a man, and they feel like physically. And I mean, they're older. They're adults now. They're 19 and 24. So they're, or they're, whatever, in an abusive relationship, whatever. And it happens. They kill someone because they feel like there's no way out.
Oh, you mean like a
Like
self-defense kind of? I'm a living hell.
in that respect, if I feel like it's not going to look good on them, maybe. However, if it's cold-blooded, you know what I mean? If it's a cold-blooded, premeditated murder, I am going to absolutely say no. I'm still your mom. I love you, but I can't.
You're a murderer.
I cannot condone this.
Which I agree with Sam on. I agree with
It's
that.
awesome. Oh yeah.
I mean,
But that's the same thing that happened with the parents. The parents weren't. They really didn't care for him.
Well, yeah.
No,
They weren't going
There's
through
a
their
difference
school.
between being a ride or die and being like, yo, I'm gonna ride with you. I'm gonna cover this all up. Doesn't like whatever you did. I'm your dad. Like, fuck this shit. We're gonna no matter what you did, we're getting away with this. Like I'm gonna help you. And then there's another thing, like, I don't give a fuck about it. That's a huge chasm between I don't give a fuck and let's get you out of this.
Right. I mean, again, if it was a self-defense situation, sure, absolutely. Absolutely. However, I mean, if they feel like that it can't be proven it was self-defense, whatever, I'm going to do everything in my power to make it, because they were really just doing something to keep themselves alive. However, if it was premeditated, I'm going to go shoot up my school. I'm going to be like, sorry, buddy,
Right.
you're going. I love you, and I will always love you. I bore you. You know what I mean?
It's gonna hurt.
But you got to go forever. You got to go to the can forever.
You have to, you have to atone for your sins. And I don't mean to be that way, but I actually do mean to be that way. I mean, you have to. If I've made a mistake, I'm going to own up to it. Own up to what you do, and suffer the consequences.
Well, you committed the act. You gotta.
Yeah, you did the crime, you do the
Don't say
time.
it.
I
Oh
mean,
God, I knew that
Exactly.
was coming. I knew that was coming.
I can't
Lord have
help it.
mercy.
I am that person.
One of the things I saw, and this was a question that came up a lot that I saw throughout a lot of, doing my research on, should parents straight across the board be responsible for what their children's acts are because they are minors?
Now,
I got 50-50. Actually, no, I should actually honestly say, I think I got like 80-20 or something like that. Some parents said absolutely yes. Some parents said depending on the scenario. Some parents said absolutely no. It was all looking at the stats on it. It was like
again,
it depends on the state too.
this situation, and up until now, this is the very first situation like this where the parents have been charged in as an accessory or involuntary, as being part of it. I don't think it needs to be, and it's going to be referenced as precedent for other cases in the future.
Mhm.
They could have helped it. They could have helped it. You could have done something to stop
no,
this.
no, absolutely. However, for the parents who have tried and done everything, you know what I mean?
That's
They
gonna fuck them
lock
up.
up their guns. They do everything they should.
Yep.
It could be very bad for that.
Yeah,
Again, if
totally.
I was held responsible for things my kids did, I say kids, you know what I'm saying, but and I've done everything I can to
Yeah.
help them, and they are
That's fucked
still
up.
that way. I've done everything I can. So should I
pay.
go down for 15 years for involuntary manslaughter? Probably not. However, it needs to be a case by case, and this doesn't need to be the
But if
the
he's 15 years
precedent for
old,
it.
but if he gets 15 years old, like dollars to donuts, he lives in your house, and then
Okay, so
But
You know what
here's
I'm
the big
saying?
question
with this
So how
though.
can you not stop that?
it's kind of black and white. You know what I mean? This case, they bought the gun with his
Right.
money. They didn't fucking lock it up. They said they hid it, but they didn't. It was in
It
his.
had
They
nothing.
found evidence that it was in his room
Right.
with the bullets. You know what I mean? With the ammunition.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Everything pointed to they were very much culpable for this because of
Mhm.
everything that they did leading up.
Yep.
Fuck. They were called for a concern or like, can we go back to work? We're losing money. Or really, mom was like, can I go
"You're
back
wasting
to
my
work?
time
I
here,
gotta
bud."
go screw the guy that I'm screwing. They put him on the stand because she was spending so much time, with him, and had even voiced her the guy she was having an affair with. She even voiced, I'm kind of worried about him, but did nothing about it.
Kind of worried about him. Anyway,
Well,
suck
then
my
I
dick.
think it's a case by case scenario. I mean, you should
Again, yes, it should
by
be.
it. Yeah, I think it's case by case, and the parents obviously had involvement, and they didn't see the signs, and I feel like the parents in this situation should be tried, and I feel like
And they were found guilty, which was
Yeah.
which should have happened by all evidence. I found it funny. Okay, so as we went into Jennifer's trial, the opening statement by her lawyer, her defense attorney, she referenced the Taylor Swift lyrics, "Band-Aids
That was hilarious.
uh,
I couldn't believe she did
Band-Aids,
that.
to heal bullet holes," and she then said, charging the parents was trying to put a Band-Aid on a bullet hole, problems that were too large to fix by this case. And
Bro.
even so, one of the other prosecutors on the team was like, I find it funny she was listening to Taylor Swift to clear her mind, for one. For two, that she used that name. It just dawned on her that morning. This is how I'm going to spin this case.
Yep.
I mean,
Taylor Swiftish. Like, are you kidding me? Everything's really clown world right now. Like, everything's really, really clown world.
it's like
I
the
can't-
upside down, for Pete's sake.
How are you gonna do that?
It's
I didn't know what the fuck she was talking about.
This
I
story
know.
is so hard because, for one, you don't want to be that parent that's enabler, right? You don't want to be that parent. And two, it's hard because the parents had the mom knew what was going on.
And the
dad
dad knew
really
too.
didn't.
He
And
did.
then there was at one point
No,
that
Dad knew. Dad knew.
but there was
Dad
at one
fucking
point,
knew.
remember, they weren't allowed to talk to each other when they were in jail. Remember,
No.
they
So
they
none of them had contact while they were in jail. However, the reason the prosecution, when James went on trial, that they said he should have no contact with anyone other than his attorney and verified clergy is because he had made threatening statements against the prosecution.
Right.
He said he had said something like, "Oh, they're gonna get it when I get out." Blah blah blah. I mean, he was literally saying, and the prosecutor, she said, "Listen, regardless of who it is, there are plenty of times that I get threats, and every time that happens, I go to the judge and say, please, no communication except for their attorney and verified clergy, because." Anybody can say I'm a pastor. You
Yeah,
can get
I'm a pastor.
You can get an internet designation, for Pete's sakes.
I can just make one on fucking
yes.
Canva.
I'm a minister. I should say
Right,
I'm a minister.
exactly.
I'm an archbishop. I'm an archbishop. I can do it
I
on
am
Canva.
certified minister around the world. So
I got diplomas. I can put my name in it. What? I'll be clergy in 5 seconds.
So one of the things, I mean, they never expressed shock about him having a gun.
Okay.
Initially,
Do you agree with this?
Mhm.
Do you agree
Oh
with
boy.
this?
Never get through.
Okay, here's the thing. If the parent, right? If the parent knows what's going on and they're an enabler, they don't see the wrong of it. Do you think the parent should also get help at that point? Like, do you think the parent now, not only do they get sentenced and they get done what they have to do you think the parents now should have to get help, like in prison, get help mentally? Because this is a mental thing. Do you think? I mean, do you think the parents?
It has to be court order. They're adults. Like you have to.
I mean,
something has to happen for somebody to tell you they have to get, unless they want to get their own.
do I think the parents are going to go kill somebody? No. They were just indifferent and didn't care. Are they going to procreate again? Probably not. Dude's now what?
And,
I mean,
and
this happened in
according to
2021. He's now an adult.
And according to like how things are going now with like, parents being liable for their kids and the shit that they do and all that, huge drop in numbers again. Nobody's going to want to have kids. What a liability.
I mean,
what a liability. More so to my point than I have children. Oh my God.
No,
I'm avoiding lawsuits. I'm dodging fucking all types of shit.
Selena, are you worried now that your kids like are they're so young, they're fairly under 5 years old. Are you worried for the future on how it holds?
No. I mean, I think I'm worried about everything. I mean, this is a scary world. Teachers are teaching things to people or to kids that shouldn't be taught. There's a lot of things going on. The world is scary, but I can't personally say that I'm going to do something because I need to see it. I need to see, well, my child's going to go to school now. Let's look at it. Let's see how it goes. I mean, everything's different. We don't know within the next 3-4 years how things will be. Hopefully it's safe. Hopefully it's a good environment, but we'll see when that time comes.
I think it also depends where you live regionally. Do you agree with the laws of your regional place? Like if you live in Seattle and you're right wing, it's probably not going to work out. You know what I mean? If you live in Spokane, Washington, or whatever, wherever, or if you live in like Montana and you're super liberal, I mean, it's just not going to work out. You should probably stick to the places that you feel represent you, right? And the people like your legislators and stuff. Like if you have a problem with something, you can call your legislature and be like, yo, this is bullshit. But if you're in the middle of California, like Southern California, things are going to kind of be the way they are. If you're in the middle of like New York City, it's going to be a hard climb, even though there are tons of conservatives in New York City. It's just a certain way. So you're probably better off somewhere else.
What
do you think, Sam?
Why we're looking at schools here, and then if we move to San Diego, I mean, there's a military school on base that my kids would go to because that's where I would feel more safe. Is
There you
you're
go.
going to school on base. Here you go.
Right.
But do you think? I mean,
But the county over, there's drag queens, like, and it's awesome. You know what I mean? Like,
I
saying.
look at it this way: if it's going to happen, it's going to happen anywhere. It doesn't matter if you're on military base. It doesn't matter if you're.
no, it's
on,
going to matter if he's in a
it's gonna
military. No,
happen.
they're going to allow that shit on a military base. You're going to allow that? Are you kidding me?
No.
What are you talking about? Allowing? What are we allowing?
Look, I'm not saying allowing, but I'm saying just, you know what?
Military base is the best place for you.
Shit happens everywhere. It doesn't matter where you're at.
Well, there's not going to be a school shooting in a military base. We know that, right? So that's out of the window. So it's already better.
I mean, they're on military housing, and we've had a shooter when I was there.
No. A military base where inside the base. So there's outside is normal people. Inside
We have
the
to
base.
remember where we had our
They're not
shooting. We didn't have gates around our community. We don't have gates where we live. It's all open. Homeless people come in and out. We have people who are military.
So you're not on base. You're
not
just
inside
in
the base.
military housing,
I'm
correct?
not
Okay.
on.
If the school's inside the base, there is no
Inside
shooter.
the base, you're not going to have that.
You're surrounded by
come
shooters.
through.
They're
Well, I mean,
protecting you.
unless a parent is not locking up their firearms in the correct way. I mean, to be
And it
fair,
could
if you're
happen.
living on base and you have a firearm, which you probably
I'm
do.
talking about the school. I'm talking about we're talking about the difference between the school.
No, I understand that, but my thought, and this is devil's advocate, are you going to be as hyper vigilant of checking children coming in with a firearm?
Into a military base, you cannot come into a military base with a firearm.
But if you're already living,
living there and you're their parents, because there is base housing where families live within the gates that you have to show military ID. I was right across the BX when I was married to my first husband. Had one of those, if they aren't doing the right thing with that, then maybe the kid that lives on base as opposed to off base brings a gun. I don't think that's going to happen.
What are the chances, do you think, are the percentages between like the outside world having a mass shooting and inside of a military base having a mass shooting?
Slim to none.
Slim to none.
Yeah.
So already it's better for that, right?
Agreed.
If that's something that you're worried about. Like, you'd have to check. There's so many checkpoints. Like, you really have to kill somebody you have to be 007.
I mean, I was on base before 9/11, and it was still hard to get on base. You know what I mean?
Now
It
we
really
got UFOs
was.
coming on base. Like, we gotta be ready.
I was on base before, you know what I mean, and it was still hard for people to come in and see me. You know what I mean? Unless it was tough in my So I don't know. I'm kind of talking in circles now. So,
but I mean, but blah, 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 blah.
Blah, blah, blah.
Blah, blah. Here's the thing.
I say
It
shot.
could happen. It could happen anytime, anywhere. Because
But
you
much
can
less
be
on
on
a military
military
base.
base.
agreed.
Much less on a military base.
Look,
Absolutely.
Much
it
less
can't.
on-
No. Think about
It's
this.
crazy.
If you're on military base, let's say that you are trying to be cool and, with the cool kids and blah, blah, blah.
I mean,
Your parents have a place that have, their stuff locked up. And you trying to be, check out my mom and dad. Look what my dad has because he's this department in the military, blah, blah, blah.
They're all in the same boat. Who are they showing off to? They're all in the same military base. That's what I'm saying. Like, they have nothing to show off about. They have nothing to be mad about. They're all have
It
the kind of the same
depends where you're
mentality.
at. No, it depends where you're at. And Selena knows from where we live at and where we live at and where, Selena was raised over here. She's, now she's in a different state. It was our town is the biggest town of, what? We're one-uppers up here. In this town, it's all about one-uppers. And Selena knows this. Who's in high school, who's got the best cars.
Okay, got it. So the point is that you think that even in a military base there could be a mass shooting.
It could happen anywhere.
Okay,
I think it could happen anywhere.
I feel like it's less likely though. I feel like, and here's the thing. I've had a concealed carry permit. I'm not anti-gun, but I am pro a lot of rules on guns. You know what I mean? I think we need to be hyper vigilant on what we do with them, and if you have one, what you do with it. It should have been in a lockbox or a safe. I didn't mean to make the thumb. Sorry. This is me talking. This is me being Italian and talking with my hands. But I do feel like things need to be locked up. There need to be regulations. I mean, a background check, fine, but
I think there's
whatever.
more.
I
I
mean,
think it should be more than a background check.
I agree. It should be, sanity check. But I mean, this man who would have probably passed all tests or all background checks, bought one for his child at the time. I mean, I'm gonna call him a child now, because when he bought the gun with his son's money, but even so, okay, let's be real. If it was my kid and they said, "Hey, I have an interest in marksmanship," or I want to, there are plenty of indoor ranges and things that you can go to and target shoot. So
For
if
sure.
you're doing that, of course I'll buy you this for that, but we're going to keep it locked up when we're not there. You know what I mean? Maybe I'm going to buy like at our bowling alley when we're in league, you can buy a locker. We're going to leave it there. I'm not going to give you the accessibility to this weapon that kills people.
Agree.
I'm not going to also give you the accessibility to this weapon without you taking a course and knowing that you never point at something you don't intend to kill. You know what I mean? I've been through the courses. I would not I've let my children shoot guns. I remember vividly when I had Alex out and we were at a range, and she was probably, I don't know, she was young. She was probably 7, and she goes, and I was telling her everything, and she goes, I handed her the magazine, and she goes, "Why is it called a magazine? I don't know how to read it." She goes, "Mommy, I can't read this. Why is it a magazine?"
Can't read this magazine.
I'm like, well, this is the name of what it is. You know what I mean? But
It's adorable.
it was always education. This is something to be feared and revered. We are not taking this lightly. And anytime we're not, shooting at a target, we're locking this up and we don't get access to it. And that's bullshit that
That sounds like a really caring, you care about what happens in the future. Like,
I do.
People is like, who gives a fuck? It doesn't matter. Like, whatever.
I learned how to shoot at a very young age.
Suck it up.
I think I was about 8 when I learned how to shoot my first gun when I was a kid.
I mean, that's Alex was,
you know what I mean?
Wonderful.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
this is great.
but
responsibly,
Selena,
it's fine.
Yes, responsibly. But you know what? Well, not even responsibly, because we just knew we weren't allowed to touch that shit unless we had an adult with us. Selena, when she always wanted. I think you were about 16 when you asked to go to the shooting range.
I think we did go when I was at least 15 or 16.
No, you couldn't go until you were 18. Remember, because here you can't go to a shooting range until you're 18. You had to do a test. Remember the test we had to do? So here to go to a shooting range where we're at in San Diego.
You're in California, though.
California, yeah.
Rules are a little different.
Yeah.
I'm in Nebraska.
Jump through a couple of hoops.
Different.
Yeah.
So California,
The fucking Wild West in Nebraska.
So she had to be 18 to go to a shooting range, and then she had to take a test. And once she took a test, then she was allowed to go in and to try out different kinds of, but she had to be 18, which for me was great, because at 18. But then again, you look at where we're going through now in life.
What are we going through?
With all the shit going on, do you think now differently? Maybe people at a younger age should learn more with their parents. Do you think that's something with their parent? The parents should be teaching their kids responsibly on adult weapons.
If I live in a city, I'm not going to teach my kids it's not. Some people just don't resonate with guns. They don't need to do that. Some people don't need those.
No, and you don't. The reason I did is I dated a guy who was big into it and whatever, and I enjoy the marksmanship of it. I don't ever want to take somebody's life. I don't need to carry one. I got my concealed carry just because it was a test. I wanted to pass it. You know what I mean? And to have I don't know, I took the test, I learned, I was able to go in and, qualify through, shooting. I never bought a gun. I never had one in my house. It was just one of those things like, oh, I can, so I did. But I never had it. I think that,
I know. Sorry.
because the guy I was dating at the time was one of those, I wish a motherfucker would.
That's
You know
exactly what I was going to say.
Yes.
Literally what I was
I am
saying.
not
Like,
that
I know a lot
person.
of military guys that are in
You
my
and I
family
talked
that are
about
like,
it,
I wish a
Lacey.
motherfucker would. That the mentality is like, I'm cleaning my gun until I wish somebody would come on my lawn. It's
I
not
don't
like
need it.
I would hate to have to pull this out. I'll keep it in a safe. No, it's right here under my pillow, motherfucker. Come in my house. And some people crave it. They want to
They
validate the fact that they
do.
have that gun.
And
It's
the
not.
guy that I was dating at the
Oh
time
yeah.
had the opportunity, and he did. And it fucked me up way more than it did him. And I'm like, how does
And
this
that
not
validates
affect-
him having it. Him
Yeah.
doing that. Now he's like, told you I needed 10 of them. It's just what it
But
is.
you don't. I mean, I don't inherently, okay. I don't know. I have
Mixed feelings.
a ton of them, and I don't know I don't know how to verbalize how I feel, because I'm very much in the middle. It is
You're
fun.
split. You're split in
It is
between.
it is nice to
Guns
go
are
out
good
there.
if you're a good guy. Guns are bad if you're a bad guy.
Well, right.
Right.
But when do you
it's super-
determine what's a bad and
A
what's a
lot
good?
more bad
determines that?
guys
right.
want. I mean, yeah, it's just fucked up. And
It is.
again, had my 15-year-old said, "Hey, I saved up money, go buy me a 9mm 6-hour," I'd be like, "Fuck off, never."
I'd be
Hell no.
fuck
And I'm
no.
not ever having a gun in my house because you want one. I will,
Because you look like you lust over it. If you lust over it, I don't think you should have it.
No,
Like, if
I
you're
agree.
like,
We don't have
I
one.
wanna have one to, like,
I mean,
I doubt
no,
that.
because of
I doubt you
what
don't.
my husband. We don't have one. In Selena's to testify, we do not have one.
Let me write
I
this down.
refuse to have one in my home.
They are
not
not
only
able to
because of
protect themselves.
because of what I've gone through personally.
Well,
But don't you want to shoot
we don't have
whoever comes to try to do that to you again?
now, do we have
Right? Don't you want to shoot? Like,
security? But
if
here's the
somebody
thing,
tries to fuck with you, don't you want to shoot them?
do we have extensive
think
security
that's
around
good.
us? Absolutely 100%. But do we have one in our home to say that my kid can say, "Oh, my mom and dad have one in their bedroom in this room"? No. And Selena can testify, we don't have that in our house. I refuse to have one just because I don't know. It takes 2 seconds for a child to go in
Yeah.
and boom.
and
And
let's
that's
be
it.
real, even if they're locked up, your kids know the numbers you like. They know the codes that
yeah.
you do. Even
And if
though
they're locked up, what you need them for are going to be obsolete, because by the time the guy comes through the door and you're going, boop,
I mean, most
boop,
of them
boop,
are like
you're
a
dead.
fingertip thing.
You know?
You know
You're
what I
dead.
mean? Or read your fingerprints.
Scares the
and shit.
shit out of me.
However,
How do you protect
That's
yourself?
how quick
big
can you get
scary
to it?
thing, because
How do you
I mean
protect
that's
yourself?
what we've been
You'd rather just
discussing.
die so your kids don't ever touch a gun?
Oh yeah,
You
well, I
know?
mean that's what we've been discussing for about 2 years now, because since we moved here, we've had crazy things that have happened to where we're like, okay, well, I think we need one, because we had before, when we first moved here, we lived in the boonies. Basically, we lived in a house that
Oh
was
God. In a
nowhere
scary place.
around us. It was a scary area, and the only person next to us was far. And one night, a drunk person that was on some drugs came down, threw a dead rabbit at the door, hung around, popped out with like some knife.
Right.
So it's a scary situation of what we've been talking about. Do we want to get one? But then it's like, will the kids get into it? It's a
That's the only
scary
thing. The couple of things to look into is like, how fast can I get? What do I need it for? Protection?
Yeah.
If some crazy guy comes near my house, okay. How fast can I get to it? Right? Because I got to get to it in a certain amount of time, because somebody busts through my door. I have about 0.5 seconds to get it and then point it and use it. So if it's too locked up, it's just absolutely asinine to have it. And then if it's out, how are my kids going to get it? And then those are the questions. Like,
And honestly, let's be real. I've lived 44 fucking years, going on 45, and have I ever had an encounter? Okay, that's a lie.
watch out. Watch out. Have I ever needed to? Yeah. Okay.
No,
You've needed a gun.
Since I stopped being a miscreant, since I stopped being in the dope world, let's be real. I mean, back in the day, I did drugs and I dated dealers, and I was left as collateral
So
and
awesome.
whatever. I mean,
I'm
I've
kidding.
lived a life. You
Wow.
wouldn't guess it talking to me now. No,
Dope
actually, you might.
dealers.
No, since then, have I ever had an encounter where I've ever needed it? No, I haven't.
Luckily, no one's try to enter your house to steal your shit.
And
So
if they did, I'd let them take it and leave me
And
alone.
kill you. What? Oh, you don't.
I
well,
mean-
hold on. You don't know if they're not going to kill you too. You have no idea.
Okay, you just
You're
said
willing to
enter
take that
your house
chance?
and steal all your shit. I'm not gonna. I'll let them steal all my shit as long as I'm
Okay,
fine.
what if it's the guy from last week who went in?
Okay, well then I'll fucking grab my knife and fucking kill him. I
Okay,
don't
so-
need a goddamn gun to do that. I have other opportunities.
Gotcha.
Well, yeah. I mean, we sleep with a machete underneath our bed.
You're
Nice.
prepared for the zombie apocalypse. That
So
no, but what I'm
here-
saying is I mean, honestly, statistically,
You're gonna
how
play the
often-
numbers. You're gonna play the numbers.
How
Like,
often does it
hasn't
happen that you need it? You don't. I
yet.
mean,
Really?
I
Pull
think
up
it
the numbers
depends
here.
where you're at. I think it really depends where you're at. I really do.
there's okay. I know I'm from Omaha, Midwestern, whatever. It's not that we don't have crime. We do. We have
Oh,
a
you
lot of it.
absolutely.
We
Oh,
do.
no.
I mean, we're an actual fucking city.
Because I mean, I think there's more in cities like that because there's not a lot to do. People
Oh,
stray to, you know what? You do not
No,
there's
no,
not
I
there a
get
lot
that.
to do, but I'm saying there's I believe that when there's smaller cities, I believe there's more crime than bigger cities because bigger cities like there's little shit you're gonna get caught. In smaller cities, you're not really gonna get caught unless someone really, you know what I mean, narcs on
I
you.
mean,
You
kind
know,
of, yeah. I mean,
mean,
it's
if-
just
it's like stealing from the poor. If you steal from the poor, you're gonna steal from the poor, you're gonna get caught. If you
There
steal
are
from, you know,
2.5 million burglaries occurring every year in the United States. Every 15 seconds, a home gets burglarized, according to in the United States. A
but I'm
break-in
not
occurs.
gonna. I'm not gonna risk my life on it because if I come out.
That's my point. Don't risk your life on it. Shoot the guy.
No.
What if he decides to
I-
shoot you?
If I come
Twice.
out, if I let you take whatever you want,
Yo, you're betting on the
Then-
guy's niceness.
they're
Now
not.
you know what I'm saying?
Burglaries okay, by definition, burglary is when you're not there. Home invasion is when you're
Yeah,
there.
that's what
So
I was reading. Right. Home invasion.
if I am out of the house, fucking, I don't care. But I mean, how many home invasions? Was it 2.5 million?
Well, did you guys ever see that article that came out about the one guy who his home was getting invaded and then he took out his gun and he didn't shoot it, but he, said, you need to leave my property. They took his gun away.
How?
They ended up taking his gun.
What state was that in?
What a bitch.
Because in
Why didn't you shoot him?
California.
What are you talking about?
I have, you know what, from
I can't with you people. I can't.
from somebody that I know personally, and this is from personally,
Oh my god.
I know for a fact. So this guy came in, robbed their house, right? My friend's house, robbed their house. Their dog attacked them.
Well,
They
you don't have a
sued
stand.
the
You're not
owner.
in a stand your ground state, though.
Yeah, I know. And yeah, exactly.
You're in California. I
In
mean,
California.
to be
I'm just gonna
fair,
come back
you're
over
not in
here.
you're not in a stand. You're not in Florida.
Yeah,
You're not in Texas.
yeah.
I mean,
Homes
they have-
without a security system are 300 times more likely, 30% more likely to be violated. 2.5 million annual burglaries. 66% are home invasions. Where
66% of the 2.5 million.
are home invasions.
That's dumb.
Mere thefts, they're trespasses into sacred places where dreams.
Or dreams.
I don't know, I just kept
Our
reading.
dreams come
Yeah,
true,
and they
everybody.
come inside your dreams. They come inside your dreams.
Dream is
No,
a
it's just-
wish your heart makes.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Sorry.
On that note,
34%
The
come out.
Disney princess in me is
Hold
like,
on. I got to finish this. 34% of nocturnal, they come in through the front door.
of course they do.
Okay.
oh, for sure.
I'm just saying. So once somebody comes into the front door, as soon as they open it up, you're like, pew, 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 pew. And that's it. And then you ask questions later before you get R-worded and
No,
S-a'd in the butt.
Our word in essay. I mean,
I
to
say
be
that-
fair, I mean, when I met Dave, I did have my concealed carry. I did let it go. And he goes, and I had never bought a gun before, but my kids were young and I didn't want one in the house at that point.
Right.
Here, when I met Dave, I was like, maybe I'll get one. He goes, I just don't want one in the house. And I was like, that's fair. So I just let it go. I'm not going to continue to, to do that. I mean, that was how he felt, I don't know. Can we all be like New Zealand and just ban them?
It's hard.
They're doing okay over there.
Can everyone just be cool and not be a baddie?
Yeah. I mean, can we just be like New Zealand? To be fair, they did the right thing. They had they had a big attack, and then they were like, nope, no longer, and it hasn't happened again.
Or, I mean, this is just going to put this out there. We can end it on this.
I mean, knives kill people too, but it's a
this
lot
in
harder
Britain.
to.
They did it in the UK, and now
knife.
knife attacks are up 3 million%. You know what I'm saying? So if you want to hurt somebody, we're going to hurt somebody. Because I know now you don't have a knife either. You don't have a gun. I know you don't. So if I have a better knife than you and have some kind of a twirly.
Yeah, but you gotta be faster and have the stamina. I mean, honestly, you can get through like one person and be like, "Oh, I'm fucking winning. I smoked too many cigarettes." I mean, seriously, you would not have the mass destruction as you would with a fucking gun.
Of course, absolutely.
But, and again, I'm not anti-gun.
If you put a knife on a chain and you swing it, you can hurt a lot of people. Good night, everybody.
What are those rock thingies? What are those little rock thingies?
What are you doing?
Like the little rock. Do you remember those little rocks
Like
that had the little two sides, and it was on a string, and it had little rocks, and you'd spin it and then you chuck it. What were those called?
Clackers.
Yeah.
Well,
it's more like a get over here. You know, it's.
I mean, but it's a lot harder to inflict mass casualties.
No question.
With any other object than a gun. And again, I'm not anti-gun. I'm just anti-murder.
Anti-hurting other.
I'm anti-murder too. Yeah.
Well, you know what I mean.
Me too.
You know what? So and on that note,
I say on that note, we all take a shot.
We all take a shot on that note.
Selena?
No, I'm taking Diet Coke.
Oh, jeez.
But guess what? Rude. You know why she wants that though? There's a reason. There's a reason. Like she loves to get me on the over the tipsy side. Because
look,
not after last week.
Next time I come on, I'll drink with you guys.
Yes?
Yeah.
Okay, so when we do Under the Bridge, you're gonna come back?
I'll come back and do Under
the Bridge. You've heard it here first. Okay.
Yes.
And
please, everybody, please subscribe. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube. We really appreciate it. Comment. We're about 30 away to 500.
Let's get it. Whoop,
so,
whoop, whoop, whoop.
Cheers, everyone.
Cheers.
Cheers, bitches.
Oh, my God.
I about spit my
drink. Thank you, Selena. Thank you, honey, for coming on. I know you're a very busy mom and a busy wife.
I'm so happy to have met you, and you're a joy.
You have Auntie Sam and you have Uncle AC. So there you go.
We're family.
We're family, and I feel sorry for you guys.
I like the way you think.
It's part of the group.
I like the way you think. You're just as crazy as you need to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I appreciate you guys for having me. It's been fun, and I love hanging out.
And thank you, everyone, for joining us. Thank you, everyone. Please hit the subscribe button. Hit like and follow. Share the live if you really liked it. Subscribe for more. Yes, absolutely. Comment. And we really, really appreciate everybody who hangs out. And look, check this documentary out.
This is a good show, I think. Yes.
Yeah, I think so too. So check out the documentary. It is on Hulu. It was just released recently, so it is a fairly new. It's called Sins of the
Parents. Yep.
You can find it even on TikTok. You can find it on YouTube. You can find it on Webkin. You can find it everywhere. And let us know what your thoughts are. We'd love to hear from you for the next story. And we love you all. And we'll see you next week, 7:00, 9 p.m. Peace out, everybody.
Bye.
We're gonna get